It is time for another presidential election of Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria PSN. Pharmacists decide 2024 who will be the next PSN president. Pharmacist Ayuba Tanko Ibrahim, FPSN. Pharmacist Dr. Adagazu, FPSN. Pharmacist Dr. Ejiro Foyibo, FPSN. Join the 2024 PSN Presidential Debate holding on Tuesday, 29th October 2024 at the PSN National Secretariat, 32 Faramobi Ajike Street, Antony, Lagos. Time is 10 a.m. prompt. This hybrid PSN Presidential Debate will be transmitted live on Pharmastream TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and hit the notification bell for live update of the PSN debate. For video and product advert placement, call Temitope Obayendo or Pharma News on 002-674-8215. Pharmacists Decide 2024. Join us for the live debate. It is time for another presidential election of Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria PSN. Pharmacists decide 2024 who will be the next PSN president. Pharmacist Ayuba Tanko Ibrahim, FPSN. Pharmacist Dr. Adagazu, FPSN. Pharmacist Dr. Ejiro Foyibo, FPSN. Join the 2024 PSN Presidential Debate holding on Tuesday, 29th October 2024 at the PSN National Secretariat, 32 Faramobi Ajike Street, Antony, Lagos. Time is 10 a.m. prompt. This hybrid PSN Presidential Debate will be transmitted live on Pharmastream TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and hit the notification bell for live update of the PSN debate. For video and product advert placement, call Temitope Obayendo or Pharma News on 002-674-8215. Pharmacists Decide 2024. Join us for the live debate.
check. Mic check. Yeah. Hello. We good? Are we good to go? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to the third edition of the PSN Presidential Debate program. This is the third in the series, and it's a pleasure to be here. In the year 2018, the first edition of this debate was held in this same hall. And at the time, we had Mazi Samuhamua, we had Lulu Ojo, we had Pharm Danonwese, and we had Pharm Oyawale. After the whole process, Mazi Samuhamua became president. In the year 2021, we were here again, and at that time, we had Pharmacist Lulu Ojo, we had Professor Osifo, we had Pharmacist Dan Oruwese, and we had Pharmacist Tanko Ayuba. At the end of that process, we had Professor Cyril Osifo become president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. History beckons again, ladies and gentlemen, as today we have three notable and reputable candidates who are vying for the highest office in the profession of pharmacy. We have Pharmacist Ayuba Tanko Ibrahim. We have Pharmacist Dr. Ejiro Foyibo, and we have Pharmacist Dr. Joel Adagazu. In a few days' time, one of them will be the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. Lest we vote in darkness, we have come today to hear them out. What are their plans? What are their dreams? What are their aspirations for the pharmaceutical profession? So that when we get to Uyo and we vote. We will be voting based on the knowledge we have gotten from these candidates about what they tend to bring to the table of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we are here. And we are going to be starting this meeting, or this presidential debate, with opening remarks from one of the strategic pillars for this event. This event is primarily powered by three organizations. We have the PSN, Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, we have Pharma News Limited, and we have, of course, Pharmastream TV, all partnering to bring this to us live and direct from Lagos. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we're taking opening remarks by the Pharma News publisher, Pharmacist, Sir Ifeanyi Atunyi. Over to you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to say welcome to you all. First, I want to thank God for bringing us here this morning. And as you may know, there are more people outside this place online than we have here. So my welcome goes to everyone. And I thank God that we're able to have this debate this morning. And my prayer is that He will guide whatever we are doing so that everything will go well according to His will. I want to welcome in particular the presidential candidates. 3 of them seated here. I know this is a very busy time for them, but they have decided to honor our invitation. Thank you very much for canceling other engagements this morning. This presidential debate is in collaboration with Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, then the Pharmastream TV under Pharmacist Raji, and also, of course, our Pharmacist Professional Master of Ceremony, Chino Additional. I think he now has 2 professions. Thank you. I want to really appreciate the outgoing president, Professor Cyril Lucifo, the first active university professor to be president of PSN. It is historical. We have never had him before. Please appreciate him. We have excelled. We have done well in different areas. Yesterday, I visited the first to qualify as a pharmacist in this country, Chief Akin Kube. I had breakfast with him, and he was asking me, are we having another academic coming as president? He is interested because he himself is a past president. I told him, no, it is not easy to have an academic professor being president. A lot is required. So it's only by chance we have this special case in the person of Professor Cyril Lucifo. And God has used him to perform well this period of 3 years. I was here yesterday to see the environment where the debate will be held. And I couldn't easily enter Everywhere was full of luggage and rubbish and the work in progress, trying to get this secretariat ready. It's complete overhaul and modernization from what we know before. We know that this place, we started using it during the time of Al-Hajj Buddha. And since that time, it has virtually remained the same. But there are tremendous changes as we're observing today. And this is being done by Professor Sufo. He will be handing over next week in New York. So he's doing it for the incoming president. Please appreciate him once again. This presidential debate started in 2018, and it ushered in Mazi Sam Ohuabonwa as the president. And then in 2021, it ushered in President Professor Cyril Usifo. We are here today to help pharmacists decide who will take over from Professor Usifo next week in Rio. There's one thing about leadership, and you may ask, why are we having this presidential debate? What is the purpose? Why are we having it? I will tell you that it's a simple answer. To be able to select the best leader for PSN, the best leader for the PSN. Leadership in any organization is very, very, very important. A management and leadership expert, John Maxwell, has said, a leader is one who knows the way. He knows the way, and he goes the way and shows the way. A leader has a vision, and others will follow. A leader without followers is not a leader. You must follow a leader who is going in the direction, the right direction. Today, our profession of pharmacy is facing great challenges from many areas, from government and even our medical colleagues. They are natural in life. Therefore, our greatest need is to have a president who understands our problems. You must first understand our problems and then has the solution to those problems and can take the right actions to solve the problems. That is leadership which we need today. The same John Maxwell has said, everything rises and falls on leadership. In the next 3 years, we must go forward. We cannot remain in the same situation. We are dynamic. We cannot be static. And therefore, we must go forward. The purpose is to help us get a leader who will help PSN to go forward in the next 3 years. There's one popular guy, one Zumbambadiwa, who has said, forward ever and backward never. PSN will always go forward and under the new leadership. I'm impressed with interest generated by this debate. In fact, we have received many questions they're asking us to ask our contestants. But our experienced MC will manage the questions to fit into the time we have so that we shall not delay unnecessarily and so that we shall answer the key questions and have enough time for our aspirants to make us happy and justify the time we are giving them this morning. Once again, I want to thank you all here physically present and those online for the time you are giving for this debate. I pray the results will be as we expect to enable us to get a very good leader. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, very quickly, in managing the time we have, we will be taking next the address by the PSN President. I remember vividly 3 years ago when we were in this room, one of the major issues that arose during the debate was how will a full-time professor who has a full-time job be able to manage the affairs of PSN. 3 years down the line, the assurances he gave us 3 years ago have been fully fulfilled. He has discharged his responsibilities creditably well, and he is about to hand over to the next president. Over to you, Mr. President, as you speak to the people of the profession in this president's address for this debate. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
We form
so that we can redeem time. My highly revered pharmacist, Toyi, at 85, you've shown us that we don't need to slow down. We should keep on doing what we are doing. I had interaction with an orthopedic surgeon, and he said movement is life. The more you move, your muscles become active, and you get better. And that's why his 89-year-old mother, nobody packs her plate when she finishes eating. We must keep on moving. And let's try to, my dear colleagues who are vying for the position I'm trying to exit, I'm happy that we are gender sensitive somehow. It's not only men, like happened during my time. My secretary, the CPC chairman, secretary of BOF, I can see a military, an Air Force officer there. So we are very protected. I think it's a good opportunity for us as pharmacists to be able to rub minds. And I'm confident that as we dialogue, as we hear our colleagues tell us what they intend doing and answering questions, that will inform us of some of the activities. And like you said, sir, that will enable us to make informed decisions as per their availability and as per what they want to do for pharmacy. But I know that pharmacists are intelligent people, and I'm comfortable and I'm confident that they will do the needful. Yesterday, Council affirmed the 3 contestants, and we are happy that they are here physically. And I will want to crave their indulgence to base their campaign on policies and issues. Let's avoid personal attacks. Let's avoid situations that are inimical to pharmacy. Let's make sure that even after the election, we are still very good friends, brothers and sisters, so that we can work together to make sure that pharmacy gets to greater height. On that note, I want to thank everyone for coming, especially those online, and look forward to seeing you in Uyo. And I can assure you 11 days' time, I'll be stepping down. And God willing, we'll work together to build a greater society. Our most revered past president, Julius Adeluyi, when I told him of a few things we're trying to do here, and also trying to make sure that we get some funds more for PSN, because economically things are getting very tight. But if we are able to, like council, be able to get fund yielding opportunities, that will help the next president to be able to manage the society very well. Like I said, I think I am planting trees. I may not sit under that tree, but I think whoever will sit on the tree can look beyond and do something much better for PSN. Thank you very much, sir.
Dive straight into the affairs for today. I would like to start that by inviting the three contestants to the respective lecterns designated to them, starting with Pharmacist Ayuba Tanko. Please approach your assigned lectern, followed by Pharmacist Dr. Ejiro Foyibo. Please go after him. And then Pharmacist Dr. Joel Adagazu. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. A few ground rules for this debate. Each of the contestants will be assigned 3 minutes for questions targeted at them. However, for every question given to every candidate that you have 3 minutes to answer, the other two candidates will have 2 minutes to speak to the same question. So you will be able to answer all questions that have been given to every candidate. But the one specifically assigned to you, you would have 3 minutes. If you look to your left, you see there's a timer there that counts down the amount of time you have per question. So the 3 minutes and the 2 minutes will be shown on that screen. And once the time is up, you're expected to stop. At the end of the whole program, you will have 1 minute to wrap up and give your closing statements. We are pressed for time, so the amount of questions each person will be able to answer will be subject to the amount of time we have left. For those who are online, you are also able, and also in the room, you are also able to ask your questions. And depending on how much time we have, we may be able to take those questions, and possibly the time will determine how many of such questions we have. But those questions would have to be targeted questions to particular candidates. So if we're able to get one each for each candidate, then we take them. Otherwise, we skip that exercise. So, could you please double check that your mics are working? Good. I think we're all good. Okay. Now, I would like to start as you've been arranged in alphabetical order based on your first names. I'd like to start with Ayuba, Tanko, Ibrahim. And this question will be answered by all three candidates. For the first 3 minutes you have, can you please tell us about yourself and why you want to be our president? Over to you, sir.
Mr. President, other members of the profession present, good morning. My name is Pharmacist Ayuba Tanko Ibrahim, a 1988 graduate of pharmacy from ABU Zaria. I did my internship at Katsina General Hospital, after which I was sent to NMPC to do my NYSC. After my NYSC, I was retained or employed in NMPC, and I stayed there and worked until I retired in 2021. While I was doing my NYSC in Kaduna, I joined, as a young pharmacist, I joined the politics of PSN. So after my NYSC, I delved into the executive committee of PSN. I held different positions and rose through the ranks until I became the chairman of PSN Kaduna State. As I was doing that, I also delved into unionism until I rose and became the chairman of Pengasan in NMPC. It should be noted that in 1992, the PSN conference was held in Kaduna when I was a YP. And it is interesting to know that from that conference in 1992 till now, I have not missed a single PSN conference that has taken place in Nigeria. The last one in Gombe. like I said, I held positions in PSN. And you should know that for every position I've held, I have made an impact. I have made a measurable and visible achievement that can be seen and measured. While I was apart from the Kaduna State positions, I moved to the national level. I became first deputy president of PSN, after which I went for unofficial member of PSN. While I was first deputy president, the PSN president empowered me to get PSN to form what we call the Assembly of Healthcare Professionals in Nigeria. We used that forum very, very well to fight the hegemony of NMA, and we made a lot of impact until the then president, Jonathan, found it fit to form what he called Presidential Committee on Harmony in the Health Sector. So, and then PSN appointed me the person to chair the committee that will write the position paper of PSN, which I did very well, and we were properly represented. Unfortunately, as everything, most things in Nigeria, the white paper on that report has not seen the light of the day. Would have gone far from what the problems we are having now in the health sector. While I was an unofficial member, I also attracted a grant from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to PSN. The project we worked upon was called PACFA. The PSN president asked me to lead the project. So I became the first project director of PSN PACFA. And we achieved a lot. And the impact of that project is the culmination of PSN Foundation today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so like we can see, we have an audience in the hall here. Audience are advised to remain quiet, no jeering, no booing, moderate applause only allowed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we move to Pharmacist Dr. Ejiro Foyibo. In 3 minutes, tell us about yourself and why you want to be our president.
Thank you very much. The president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, our dear colleagues that are here and those that are online. I am Pharmacist Dr. Ejiro Foyibo. I have gone through the ranks. I have been in PSN leadership, so to say, for a long time. I came into PSN after my youth service. Somehow, Providence just smiled on me, and the then chairman of Ogun State just said, you will be assistant secretary. And that was how my journey started. Though I was vice president of Pharm. And then I've gone through the rank, assistant secretary in Ogun State. And I also came to the national. I've had 3 positions at the national level. I got through the ranks at the state level, became the state ACPN chairman, and by God's grace, I became the national chairman of ACPN. And I'm someone that is so passionate about pharmacy. Even at the time of my passing out parade, I left that parade and came for the PSN conference in 1997. And from there till now, I have attended every conference. And what have I done with the position? As national chairman of ACPN, when I get to a place, I want to leave a mark, I want to make a change. Little things that we think don't matter. We introduced, ACPN was the first to introduce online registration because I felt that as enlightened people, we cannot be going to conferences and be straining ourselves about registration. I know the opposition that we have, even from PSN, but we went ahead. We paid consultant. I would say, no, we must start from there, and we introduced that. And then even in the practice, we started certification of, because at that time, we were talking about vaccination. We had a collaboration with APHA and Live Well, and we had certification training for community pharmacy in conjunction with GSK, to the extent that even community pharmacies were giving ice line freezers. And even as in the immediate past, Deputy President South of the PSN, I had the opportunity to be the Vice President of the CPA. And what did I do to that? for the first time, by the time I became a member of the ESCO, I discovered that there was the grant that was going on anti-malaria, antimicrobial resistance. And what I had to do was to ensure that Nigeria keyed into it, and Nigeria got that grant. And Pharmacist Lawa was taken. So wherever I get to, I want to make that impact.
Thank you very much, madam. Next, we'll be having pharmacist Dr. Joel Adagazu in 3 minutes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, President of PSN, and my co-debaters, my valued opponents. My name is Pharmacist Dr. Joel Ewuga Baba Kanze Adagazu. But for the sake of this election, I will accept being called Joel Adagazu, so that we don't go through the lantern. Well, I am interested in becoming president of PSN because from the experiences I've gathered over the years, from the background I'm coming from, being a federal government official, I got to the position of Director of Food and Drugs in the Federal Ministry of Health, and I know the problems that pharmacists and the pharmacy profession has been experiencing. The problems are really many. We struggled while I was in government to solve some of those problems, but it appears they will not give way. Now, with the experiences I have in the pharmaceutical society, having served in various capacities, and currently the chairman of the board of fellows, mine, I think I have gained even more experience, and I'm fired up, really fired up, to contest for this presidency, so that I can bring my experiences, my qualifications, my exposure, and my reach to solving some of these problems, so that pharmacy and pharmacists will be the better for it. This is why I have decided to contest. And I have been in this thing since 1976. In fact, my first attendance at conference of PSN was in 1974 in Bagauda Lake Hotel in Zaria, when Prince Adelisi Adeli was a secretary of the PSN. Since then, I can assure you I've attended close to 45 conferences. So when people are talking about experience and exposure, you can count me in. I'm ready. I'm very, very prepared to take up this responsibility. And I know that this opportunity we have today will give all of us, all pharmacists, the opportunity to decide among the three of us who will they support to take over from our amiable Professor Osivo, who has done very well in the past 3 years and is about to come to the end of his tenure of office or tour of duty. So I am appealing to all of you to pay attention to what we shall be discussing here and look at our credentials and background and take a decision that will help the profession of pharmacy. Thank you very much.
Good. So the stage is set. Now we know who you all are and we know your motivations. And so let's dive into some of the issues that we believe we want addressed as a profession. And I'll be starting with you, pharmacist Tanko, Ayuba, Ibrahim. Like I said, you have 3 minutes to answer this. And then the other two candidates will speak to the same questions, but in 2 minutes. Feel free, you don't have to finish your time. If your point is made in 1 minute, it's good, so that we can take more questions.
I will help you, don't worry.
All right, so, sir, the open drug market seems to have become a permanent feature in the Nigerian pharmaceutical landscape. While we have made some, I'll call it little progress in recent times, we seem to still be very far from our goal. What plans do you have to, if you become president, to accelerate our movement towards the sanitization of the Nigerian drug distribution system? In 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you very much. Like so many challenges the pharmacy profession is facing in Nigeria, we have legislations or policies in our favor. The problem is that the policies are not being implemented. There's a national drug distribution guidelines approved by government, which should have been implemented long ago, so that we wouldn't have to be talking about chaotic drug distribution. But this is Nigeria, where the government will make its own laws, make policies, but refuses to implement. So if you don't implement, you give room for chaos. What we shall do is to do advocacy to people who are supposed to implement those rules. But I will not stop at advocacy only. Since we have the laws or policies in our favor, we shall test them legally. If we ask you through advocacy, please implement this law so that we shall sanitize the drug distribution space, and you don't do it, we shall use the legislator to force you to do what you are supposed to do so that pharmacists can breathe. Because many charlatans and non-pharmacists have taken over our profession, and they are the ones prospering instead of pharmacists to prosper. So we shall see to the end of chaotic drug distribution and, if possible, medicine vendors in the profession. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Dr. Foyibo, do you have anything to say on that topic? If you do, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. PSN as a body has, this is an issue that has been with us, and we thank God that we are making we have some successes already. The coordinated wholesale center that Kano has started is something that we all love, and we just know that as a body, with what PSN is doing, we continue to work with those state governments that are ready to, to take off and see that these wholesale centers take off. Then, even amongst ourselves, as a community pharmacist, immediately I started going for leadership position. I stopped going to Idumota. If you know Abeokuta very well, we don't have big wholesale centers. But I had to do that. So we must create the awareness amongst us, because it must come from us so that we can do the things that we should do. Our colleagues have come together. If you look at the collaborations that people have, there are wholesale centers you have in Ibadan, you have in Osun, you have in Lagos. People who have come together, they have put their money, they are doing well. We can do it. Because if we stop patronizing those people, then definitely they will feel the impact. So we must create this awareness, even among the public. We must create the awareness. If you are going somewhere to buy and the person is buying drug from authorized places, you have your choice to say, I don't trust where you are getting your drugs from. So as pharmacists, we have our own role to play, apart from the government policies that have been approved. We need to do a lot. We have to come together. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's not about getting drugs at cheap rate, but getting the right drugs for the Nigerian populace.
All right. Thank you very much. Dr. Joel Adagazu, the same question.
Thank you very much. The issue of open drug markets is something that has been with us for a long time. And while I was in government, we initiated the process of establishing or developing the National Drug Distribution Guidelines. It got approved after I left service. And to my surprise, for the past few years, not much has been achieved. It's only of recent that they've started pushing, because the situation is really getting out of hand. And actually, the government is supposed to be the prime mover of the National Drug Distribution Guidelines. They are supposed to provide facilities for the people to move into. But so far, I think it's only in Kano State that has happened. As I speak with you, just 2 weeks ago, I was involved and I was invited to participate in the review of the National Drug Distribution Guidelines, something that I was already used to. I'm used to it, and I'm providing additional impetus to ensuring that we have a document that will be implementable. We are reviewing the problems that are still there, which are not being solved. And we are trying our best to make sure that in the next foreseeable future, things will improve. I, as president of PSN, will advocate and will push that, look, governments in the various states should invest in building those centers so that those who are selling in the open market will move in there. We don't expect them to go and build on their own. There are people who are ready to build, but control become very, very difficult indeed. So I think that something can be done. It's not too bad. We have a problem, but we can solve it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now we move to the next question, which is to Dr. Ejiro Foyibo. Now, the larger population of Nigeria as a people do not have access to pharmaceutical care. I remember at a conference that we host, I think about 5 years ago or 6 years ago, the registrar then said the data he provided suggested that 75% of Nigerians do not have access to pharmaceutical care. And that we extrapolated that from the fact where he said that 75% of the local governments in Nigeria don't have one pharmacy in them. I mean, one pharmacy for a local government is bad enough, not talk of not even having one. And so, what plan do you have to deepen the penetration of pharmaceutical care across the length and breadth of Nigeria?
Thank you very much. It's a problem that has been with us. And even at the ACPN level, some years back, ACPN started, looked at that to see what they can do about it. And what we came about was especially for areas that they didn't have at all, there must be a special regulation for them. Because you cannot say for a whole local government that has no pharmacy to be doing the same, having the same having the same standards with those that are already in abundance. There is need to encourage people to do that. And so some of the regulations must be at least relaxed. And this is where most of our colleagues will come in. We have so many, even in some of those hospitals, those local governments, you have pharmacists who are in the government, who close from work, and at the end of the day, they go and sit at home. And then we are talking of areas not being covered when you have people who are not doing, who don't even have enough work to do, because some of them are just in health centers and very little work that they do. So we try to ensure that from our side as PSN, we'll be able to follow up that which ACPN have started. How do we get them to those areas? It is doable. We can do it. It's just for us to relax the laws a little, give rooms for our colleagues who have that time, those in hospital, those in the academia, who have time, who can do others, so that when we relax it, more of these places can be open. And if possible, startup now is not easy. We can also help in the startups, because for anybody who is in business now, know what it takes. So start up a place. So if there are rooms for, if there are special consideration for those who will be starting up in the rural areas, like ACPN when they did it, I think as at that time, 50,000 or 200,000 was big money. That was what ACPN was doing. PSN can be part of this project, and we can even get financial support. Thank God now is a bit easy if we go as a group to have a special fund for startups. We can do that so that we can encourage more people. It's not really that we lack the manpower, though we don't have enough, but what we have can go more than what it is, can cover the space that it covers today. So with PSN helping to propel that, helping to carry forward that, that there should be more of pharmacy in rural areas, I'm sure we'll go a long way.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adagazu. You have anything to say about that?
Yes, I have a lot to say. The first thing is we do not have enough pharmacists. That's the first thing. Secondly, it is so difficult to get pharmacists to move to the rural areas. So we have a challenge. And unfortunately, even the patent medicine dealers that are supposed to be located in areas where there are no pharmacists, they are opting to come and operate in the cities, in communities where we already have pharmacists. So they are further complicating the matter. Now, what do? We need to ensure that even in the primary healthcare centers, the government employs more pharmacists. Secondly, we need to support pharmacists to establish, give them incentives to establish in rural areas. I think it is very, very important. And when we make the atmosphere a little bit conducive, perhaps pharmacists will move there. I'm just surprised that we have to be talking about lack of, we do not have what it takes to get our pharmacists to go and move in those areas. And unfortunately, we have so many pharmacists that are among the few that we have who are not even engaged. They are not engaged. We don't have enough pharmacists. The few that we have are not engaged, and they're hanging around. They are complaining. I've discussed with quite a number of pharmacists. They're willing to work, but there is no work. They are willing to set up. There is no financial support. As the president of PSN, I'll try to navigate around that area. I'll try to find out for sure how can we support these young people? How can we manage them so that our profession will take its proper route in this country? In Cameroon, for instance, once a pharmacy appears where there is a patent medicine, the patent medicine moves away. But here, they even get emboldened and they try to compete with those who are professionals. If we have problems, I will try and solve those problems because I know how I'm going to go about it.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Over to you, Pharmacist Tanko Ibrahim.
Yeah, I would like to situate your question in context. Because when you say pharmaceutical care, for those of us working in hospital,
Yes.
it's a concept different from pharmaceutical services.
Let's call it service.
Okay. And now, let me go to the question now. Because if you talk about pharmaceutical, it's a concept completely in the hospital.
Okay, yeah.
Pharmaceutical services, I like it. Yeah. So let me take my answer
You
towards that.
can reroute.
Exactly. So for pharmaceutical services, I want to believe we can improve the penetration or the services of pharmacists by adopting what I did when I was project director of PACFA, by getting the Federal Ministry of Health and PCN to recognize community pharmacists as immunization centers. We shall take it far by adopting or making the community pharmacists to be adopted or recognized as primary healthcare centers. By that, they can do much more instead of trying to get quacks and non-professionals to be filling the space. So, we shall try to, because one of my visions is to enhance the visibility of pharmacists, increase recognition, and then foster prosperity. I want pharmacists to be prosperous. And when they become prosperous, all of us can smile. So when they have more responsibilities, they have more chance of making more money and they become prosperous. And it will be better for the PSN and for pharmacists in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so now to Dr. Adagazu. The welfare of pharmacists, especially in public service, is something that we really need to look at. It can be much better. What plan, having been, within the public service for that long, how do you plan to advocate for better terms of service, salaries, benefits, because if we look at our medical colleagues, they're always in the way of creating new structures that seem to support and favor them. How do you plan to do this if you become the president of the PSN?
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, this is an area that falls within my areas of experience. I have handled these aspects before as somebody who worked in the federal government. I have fought for improved salaries for pharmacists. I have worked out, or in fact, we insisted on parity in many occasions, we insisted on parity. But the problem we have in the government is that the federal government seems not to be looking in the direction of pharmacists. The doctors, on the other hand, try to insist on denying pharmacists their rights. And nobody seems to be able to challenge them. So I am telling you now that if I was able to challenge them while I was in government as a civil servant, now that I will be a free agent and the president of a whole pharmaceutical society of Nigeria, I will be able to work closely with those in authority and ensure that those things that are supposed to be meant for pharmacists are given to pharmacists. If not so, there will be trouble. So I'm telling you now that there are opportunities for pharmacists in government to enjoy better benefits. But when that happens, there are objections from our own colleagues, the doctors. So when I become president, I intend to go into a kind of, I'll try to seek harmony. I want to work closely with the doctors in the first place, the nurses, and then, of course, I want to work with respect to all those in authority in government, so that what is good for the goose will be also extended to the gander. I want to believe that it is work is doable. I have I already started asking questions about how we can do that with those who are in the ministry, those that are left behind who are my mentees. Now they are in charge. So I can tell you for free that I will be ready and able to find out the best possible means of getting pharmacists properly remunerated. And this I will do with the support of all the people around here, all the pharmacists that can make a difference. We will use them. All the people who are in the legislature, we use them. So we use as many people as possible to advocate and push for equity in the health sector. That is what is missing now, and that is what is unacceptable. And I want to assure you that I will do my very best to ensure that equity, to a certain extent, comes to play.
Thank you very much, sir. Pharmacist Ayuba Tanko,
Yeah.
can you speak to the same question?
Yeah, welfare of pharmacists in the public sector. Well, I have
You can turn into private sector.
I've been a union leader, and I've led negotiations. So it's a familiar turf for me. The only good thing is that in Johesu, we have the advantage of solidarity. Solidarity means when one part is affected, the rest will also be affected. So we tend to fight together. And government fears on numbers. So if pharmacists are fighting for something alone, the chances are that the government may ignore. But when we all come together as healthcare professionals, the government will tend to listen. So we shall pursue the Johesu angle. Whatever we want to fight, we fight together. So it will be easier for us to get. And the way you talk about welfare, I don't think it's only the hospital pharmacists or public sector pharmacists who need welfare. For example, if you sanitize community practice and patent medicine vendors are taken care of and the charlatans, pharmacists in community service will sell more and they will make more money, and that will enhance their welfare. So you don't have to, every pharmacist must be prosperous.
We should not marginalize anybody.
Exactly.
All right, sir. All right, Dr. Foyibo, over to you.
Thank you very much. I think so much has been said. We'll try as much as possible. There are some of the policies are there, but if, for instance, if you take the federal government approved policy on pharmacist consultants, some institutions are deciding when and how they will implement it, and it's not something that we should accept. Like the two of them have said a lot. We will go all out to fight for what is ours, especially that which is our entitlement. We go all out, we will negotiate, we will lobby, and when there is need to fight, we will fight. Yeah. And then there is need to open up. There's so much that we can do. It's not even only about the remuneration. That is not all that we are talking about. If, for instance, like this specialization that is coming up, you have pharmacists in the hospital, even in the community, who are oncology pharmacists and all that. You go through other training, you go through other study, and you don't get paid for what you have been trained for. And even some of them are already rendering those services. They are not getting the benefits of what the services they are rendering. So in my under my care as PSN President, we'll try to follow up that, especially in the hospital. For those who are specializing now, I think they should get the benefit of all that that they go through. And even in the community, it's the same thing. That's what we have been fighting for in the community, is to ensure that the community pharmacy becomes a primary health care center. Because whether we like it or not, it's always the first point of call. And so if the community pharmacist is seen and taken as such, then all the benefits that are accrued can come onto it. But we are blessed as a profession, and as professionals, we are endowed. And those, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, madam. Now we've taken the first set of questions. I would like to implore those of us who are online, who have questions for our candidates, to please put them in the chat room there. There's somebody monitoring, and once we have questions for at least one for each candidate, we can take that as a round. Otherwise, I move to the second set of questions. And so I'd like to go back to Pharmacist Tanko Ibrahim. How will you foster stronger collaboration between the pharmaceutical industry, government, international organizations to tackle public health challenges such as drug shortages and disease outbreaks? What am I trying to say? PSN as a body cannot stand alone. We need to work with governments, international organizations to address issues such as drug shortages and disease outbreaks. As PSN President, how would you go about that?
Thank you very much. This is in the realm of diplomacy. And as somebody with master's degree in diplomacy and international affairs, I want to believe I'm quite prepared for such. PSN is a member of many international organizations, including FIP and CPA and APF. So we just don't attend meetings like that. We also have to take advantage of trainings and other grants that come with them. Well, you see that whenever there's an outbreak of disease, the WHO takes a holistic responsibility, and all associations and societies affiliated to these bodies must key in. So PSN will, under my leadership, will key in into whatever activities the FIP, the CPA, the African Pharmaceutical Forum is bringing to the table. And we shall play our part by partnering with the other international bodies to ensure that we implement whatever is good for the citizens of Africa and Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Dr. Foyibo, you have 2 minutes to respond to the same question. How do you foster stronger collaboration between the pharma industry, government, and international organizations to tackle challenges such as drug shortages and disease outbreaks? Over to you, madam.
Thank you very much. We know that there are a lot of challenges that are facing the pharmaceutical industry, even right from whether you are manufacturing in Nigeria or you are bringing in finished product. There are a lot of challenges right from the port. Clearing is an issue. Custom issues to clear, to get your products. Even for those who are manufacturing locally, there is a lot of challenges that they face. I think that as PSN President, we can have a relationship, a collaboration with the customs, and at the custom general, controller general level. The president of PSN can have any relationship with and collaboration with any agency at the highest of the level, so that for imports, whether it is finished product or raw materials, there will be a consideration for pharmaceutical raw materials and finished product. And also, cost of transportation has become a lot of challenges. It has become a big challenge, and something that we can also work. If we come together, we can have a dedicated. The companies can work together. There can be like a central warehouse, things to reduce the cost of drugs by the time it gets to the end users. Those are the things that PSN we want to look into.
And
right. Also,
you have time. Continue.
Yes. And if you look at it, if you look at affordability and making, and now that we are going more of herbal, there's a lot that we can do. For any company that is going local, that is going herbal, the government, we can go into collaboration to assist so that there is government, there is subsidy on all those kind of products, so that at the end of the day, the end of it is to make the challenges reduce costs, what it gets to the end user at the end of the day.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Adagazu.
Thank you very much, moderator. The issue is drug shortages. Drug shortages are caused by so many problems. One, probably you don't have enough drugs being manufactured or produced. Two, probably you're not buying enough drugs. And thirdly, perhaps you have some other challenges that are militating against the availability of drugs. So if you want to have enough drugs, you must collaborate with the industry and ask them, how can we improve the capacity utilization of your industry to ensure that you produce more drugs to curb the shortages that we're experiencing? And the best approach is to collaborate with the government in the first place and ask if government can you support the industry to increase their production. Secondly, if you are dealing with the international community, you find out from them how can they support, in what ways can they support the industry in Nigeria. I'm not asking for people to start sending drugs to us free of charge. That is not the idea. We should try and be self-sufficient in drug production in this country. When I become president, I intend to collaborate with the pharmaceutical societies of India, the pharmaceutical society of China, and to ensure that there is this reciprocity in understanding, so that they will not just be bringing drugs to us, they will help us to start producing locally in order to increase our own volume, so that we are not going to be producing at 30% anymore. We'll be producing at 50% or even more. The best solution to drug shortage is local production, and I think that we should pursue that. That is what I will do.
Thank you very much. All right, so Dr. Ejiro Foyibo, interestingly, the question you have feeds off what Dr. Adagazu just said. Given the reliance on imported drugs and APIs in Nigeria, what are your plans to enhance local pharmaceutical manufacturing and reduce import dependence?
Thank you very much. I think I've mentioned one of them before, which is, the challenges that we have even at the points of entry, whether it is raw materials or finished products, and we can collaborate at that level. And then also, cost of manufacturing has become extremely high, and even logistics, it has become so high. And so I believe like what is happening in those days when these telecom companies, everybody was running their own business, but when they came together, nobody was, they were not going solo again. You have them working together as a group. We can do that. For instance, if the companies come together and for the local manufactured product, for instance, we can encourage people who are into agri-business, give them incentives so that more of the raw materials that can be produced in Nigeria can be produced more. We know that in Nigeria, whatever you are doing, you are more or less on your own. But we'll try as much as possible. Can we, can we come together as a body and say, okay, government, can you encourage these people? If these people want to go into this production, the agric area, can we encourage them? Can we give them incentive so that whatever they want to do, it at the end of the day, it boils more. Is a good thing for Nigeria. And then also financing is also another problem. Even at the local, even at the community level, is the same. The cost of getting finance now, the interest rate is so high. Governments can help to give a special subsidized interest loan to manufacturers or even those that are importing all these things. and so that they can do better in whatever they are doing. Because when you take a loan and you are paying more than what you are getting, even for us at the community level now, it's not funny at all. So if there is a special loan for them, they can also do better. Then in the area of logistics, they can work together as a group. If there is a coordinated delivery, so that, for instance, if something, the east, something is going to the east, or is going to the north, or is going to the south side, if there is a coordinated delivery corridor, we can do it. We can do it in such a way that it cuts down costs. So there is a lot to do, and there should be a lot of encouragement. There should be incentive to see that, yes, these are parts of the people that are building the country, and it will help. And advocacy at whatever level, at the highest level, will be ready to do that as president of the PSN.
Thank you very much, Madam. Dr. Adagazu.
Yes.
Let me just rephrase so that you get the point. Given the reliance, right now, our over-reliance on imported drugs and APIs, what are your plans to enhance local manufacturing and reduce import dependence?
Well, the first thing is to note that our local manufacturers are having a lot of challenges. They pay for virtually everything. So in the end, it is not easy to produce. So many of them have resorted to importation, even those who have set up to manufacture locally. This is a challenge. And, recently the president pronounced this presidential initiative on the order that we're supposed to help the industry to get better deals in the importation of raw materials and even the finished products. But I tell you, it is not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy. And it will take some time. In fact, probably the president will be preparing for a second tenure before we start implementation. That is if it does take up. I know there are plans, there are efforts to do that. Secondly, I think the best option is to pursue other means of getting the industry to organize themselves in such a way that they will pursue. I will work with them because I know that the best solution is to have government to give them loan, not just think about custom duty rebate. Let government give them some form of subsidy, and when they produce, let government patronize them. That way, the industry will be able to make money, and they will be able to produce more. And I told you earlier that we have to also collaborate with others. If you keep exporting drugs to our country, and you are not helping us to stand on our feet, you are not helping us. So if you want to benefit from Nigeria, you must help us to improve our level of local production. Imports will not solve any problem for us. Local production is the main thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Pharmacist Tanko Ibrahim, over to you, sir.
Under the presidency of Pharmacists, Ibrahim Yakasai, there was this policy he came up with that drugs that are manufactured locally should not be imported. I don't know whether we are still implementing the policy, or we have reversed it. I would like to pursue that. Any drug that can be manufactured locally should not be imported. And then the PSN, under my leadership, will provide support so that pharmacists who want to go into manufacturing can go around or understand properly the regulatory requirements of PCN and PSN, because some of them go into production without actually understanding the regulatory requirements of PSN and PCN. So we shall help them to understand it. And then we shall go into collaboration for growth with NAIP. You have a project called Pharma Park Initiative. It's a baby of the NAIP. I'm going to collaborate with them to ensure that the project is seen to its conclusion, so that people that are in production can enhance their businesses and then enhance their growth. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think that marks the end of the second round of questions for all the candidates. Do we have any feedback online? From a stream? Are people sending questions? All right, so let's harvest some of those questions and prepare after this next set of... No. Okay, you haven't taken your last question for the second round. Okay, good. So let's prepare that for the next round of questions. With the alarming rates of emigration of pharmacists, what we call the Japa syndrome, especially the younger generations, because even now, retirees are Japaing. So it has cut across the whole spectrum. What are your thoughts about this phenomenon, and what plans do you have to preserve the integrity of our profession in spite of this issue?
Yeah, thank you. Very quickly, let me correct my opponent.
Okay.
It was not the initiative of the past president. It was not his initiative that stopped or brought the idea of 40% of drugs being produced should not be imported. Yeah. We started it in the ministry.
Okay.
We were the ones who brought up the idea. It's not the PSN.
All right.
The PSN can only collaborate with the ministry.
All right.
And I am there to collaborate with the ministry.
All right.
Thank you. And then let me go to this idea of Japa. Let me tell you one thing. Even my son, when he was sleeping, he didn't tell me. I was asking, what is happening? Sometimes it is because of the frustration that the youth are going through. If you stay after graduation for many years without job, and there's a way you can get outside, even if you know you are going to suffer, you will try that option. So I think it is a problem that is not just with the pharmacists, it is a problem that goes across board, even for doctors who are having it better in this country as of now. They are still moving out of the country. So I think the best thing is to try and see how we can alleviate the challenges facing the young pharmacists. If we do that, and I think PSN can do something about it, by making government and even the outside, the private sector, to create jobs that will absorb some of these young pharmacists. If we do that, it will probably reduce the level and extent of people moving out of this country. We want them to be here. But on the other hand, if they move out and when they will come back one day to support us, there are still benefits. So I want to believe that you cannot stop the process of Japa without making the environment conducive for our young pharmacists to stay here and work here. We need to talk to the young pharmacists. And that is why, as Chairman Board of Fellows, I have insisted that we must introduce the policy of this mentorship. We will interact with them at an early stage to get them to understand life, not only in the university, but immediately after they graduate, so that they will be prepared to face some of those challenges. And then when we are able to also ensure that vacancies are created and they are absorbed, probably we'll be able to reduce the number of people leaving. So I think I have what it takes to pursue some of those plans so that our young people will remain in Nigeria and we can have them to serve within the country.
All right, sir. Let's go to Pharmacist Ayuba, Tanko, Ibrahim, Japa. What's the plan?
Yeah, so, when it comes to young pharmacists, I've been the pillar of young pharmacists throughout the years. I've been supporting them, I've been encouraging them, and we have been doing a lot together. But this issue has to do with the Nigerian economy. It is not peculiar to pharmacists only. So whatever profession you belong to, people are leaving this country in droves. And unless the economy improves drastically, you can't stop people from leaving to go for greener pastures. Mm-hmm. This is the reality. This is the reality. It's not peculiar to pharmacists. And any pharmacist, PSN President, that tells you that he can bring policies to stop people from Japa. He's just deceiving everybody. It has to do with the national economy. So the federal government should put in place policies that will improve the economy so that there will be opportunities for these young people so that they can stay and showcase their talent and make the economy better. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Foyibo.
Thank you very much. In the course of this campaign, I've had occasions to interact with the young pharmacists. Like my colleagues have said, the Japa syndrome is not limited to pharmacy. It's cut across board. But their demands are that if, for those of them that want to stay, some of them want to start up. And, getting access to starting up is a major challenge in this country. Even for those who already run chains, to start a new branch now is usually a problem. So they will want a situation where PSN will support them. There should be a special program in which we can get facility for them for startup, special facility for startups, that PSN can come out and say, yes, we guarantee these people for startup, so that if they have something doing, maybe it can reduce the level of jackpot. And also, I intend that as PSN president, sometimes the gap from school to the real pharmacy practice is so wide. What you see in school is so different. By the time you come out, it's a different thing. We will start a mentorship mentee program, so that before they come out of school, they would have had exposure to mentors and see the reality of what the practice is all about. Even before this jackpot, we know that when we come out, it's so difficult. And also this internship thing, we can increase it, because a situation where a pharmacist who graduates and for the next 6 months, maybe he's even the best graduating student, is looking for a place of internship. It makes a lot of difference. If they come out, for me, I came out and I got internship placement even before my result was released. So we work in all these areas to reduce their stress and to help them build their confidence in the system.
All right, thank you very much. That now marks the end of this round. I will now go to the third and probably final round for the prepared questions. If we have online questions or questions from the room, we will take. Otherwise, we will wrap up. So back to you, Pharmacist Ayuba, Tanko, Ibrahim. Pharmaceutical regulations need to evolve to tackle issues like drug counterfeiting and unethical practices. What reforms would you introduce to strengthen the regulatory framework and ensure better compliance across the pharma sector? I take that again. And because everybody's going to answer it. Pharmaceutical regulations need to evolve to tackle issues like counterfeiting and unethical practices. What reforms would you introduce to strengthen the regulatory framework and ensure better compliance across the pharma sector? Over to you, sir.
This comes under the purview of NAFDAC and PCN in collaboration with the PSN, because these are regulatory issues, strictly. PSN has been working in harmony with NAFDAC and PCN. In fact, I can boldly say that the two bodies are a product of PSN that made them to be formed. Fortunately, like I said, we have many regulations and laws in our favor. We shall work in collaboration with NAFDAC and PCN to ensure that the current laws as they are being implemented. We have so many laws and policies in favor of the profession, but they are not being implemented. We shall carry out advocacy visits and in collaboration with NAFDAC and PCN, ensure that the current laws we have are implemented, so that there will be sanity in the pharmaceutical space.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Foyibo, the same question. If I take that again, the question is, pharmaceutical regulations need to evolve to tackle issues like counterfeiting and unethical practice. What reforms would you introduce to strengthen the regulatory framework and ensure better compliance?
Thank you very much. So far, we know that for those in the pharma industry, for instance, there is a lot of hurdle they have to go through in the process of registration. I think that PSN can be that bridge that we form that collaboration, and we can come together so that whatever it will take, the people in NAFDAC, the regulatory bodies in NAFDAC and PCN, they are all pharmacists. We can have a collaboration to reduce the stress of registration, the timing, the processes of registration, they are cumbersome. We cannot deny that. So we'll be able to come in as a body to see what we can do in that area. Also, if you look at PSN, for instance, there's nothing stopping us for being, thank God for the technology that we have now. I will talk a lot about this collaboration, but that collaboration needs to, to come from a center, and that is the role that PSN is going to play. With technology, if they come together, it will be easier to detect most of these challenges that we find. Thank God for AI and all that we have. We can come together and be able to detect. And nothing stops PSN. If PSN begins to champion, when it comes to counterfeit and all that, there's nothing stopping us, PSN, from ensuring that the end user gets what is right. So PSN can play a lot of role in that, collaborating with the regulatory agency to see that the things that are supposed to be done are done. The laws are there. Like I said, the laws are there. Sometimes we don't just, the Nigerian factor plays its part. But as a team, we'll do all that we can to see that most of these hurdles are overcome.
All right, thank you. Dr. Adagazu, over to you.
Thank you very much. The first and foremost thing is that regulation in this country is a very challenging issue. And only recently, federal government decided to remove those regulatory bodies from the budgetary provisions of government. How do you expect them to perform? For 10 months now, PCN staff have not received their salary. If you are asking people who are hungry to go and regulate, tell me, what do you expect from that action? It's just not going to work. As for regulation, we have them. Do you understand? We have the regulations in place. And we also have difficulty implementing or enforcing the regulation. So what we should do as PSN is to work closely with the regulatory agencies. If I'm able to save money as president of PSN, if there are areas where I can support the regulatory bodies to carry out some functions, I will do so. They are staffed on funds, and they are making life is a little bit difficult for them. They have staff, but the staff are not enough to carry out all these functions. So I want to suggest that even the counterfeit problem we have in this country, we do not have a clear level of counterfeiting. We don't know. NAFTA will tell you that they've done carried out some surveys and they've come out with some percentages. But the true aspect of it is that if we have to do it, we have to do it in a collaborative manner and make sure that we use global standards to estimate, to survey and conduct survey and know what is the level and extent of counterfeiting in this country so that we tailor our actions towards coping this situation. Regulation is very important, and there is nothing we can do right now other than to support those regulatory agencies with enough funding for them to perform at a good level.
All right, thank you very much. We'll be taking the next question, and that goes to Dr. Ejiro Foyibo. With advancements in medicine and technology, how do you plan to enhance pharmacy education and continued professional development to ensure that Nigerian pharmacists remain competitive globally? I take that again. With the advancement in medicine and technology, how do you plan to enhance pharmacy education and continuous professional development to ensure that Nigerian pharmacists remain competitive globally?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, we'll start from the curriculum. We will all agree that as pharmacists, our curriculum is due to be reversed. And as PSN President, I know PSN has been on it. So as PSN President, we'll try to see to it that the curriculum, it does not, some of the things in the curriculum that were there when, in the 70s, in the 80s, are still the same thing, even at this time of technology. So there is need for the curriculum to be reviewed. And also, now we have a lot of, so many school of pharmacies in Nigeria. The accreditation processes should be standardized. There should be no shortcuts. There should be no, people should know, the institutions, when they say that a school is accredited for pharmacy, people should know and just believe that it is of what standard. Then we can also go into partnership with global institutions, so that in the course of our training, there's nothing stopping us from having, international collaboration, having people sending our students, especially with technology. Our students can benefit from global institutions, so that we can produce pharmacists that can have the trust and have to be fearless, to be able to face the world as a pharmacist. And when they go anywhere, they can be able to excel. And then also for those who are already practicing continuing education, we know we are doing that. But the continuing education should be tailored to suit what is on ground. We will try as much as possible to do that, so that even in our continuing education, there can be things that are relevant to our practice, and so that the practicing pharmacists in Nigeria can consistently be updated of what standard. And then also, we look at, I've talked about the mentorship program before, which should start from the university. We can do that, so that when these pharmacists come out, we can have people who are strong enough, people who have an idea of what the outside, what the real pharmacy, what is like. Then also research. Don't forget, we thank God for what is happening in Unilag today. The School of Pharmacy can do a lot when it comes to research. So as under my tenure as PSN President, we try as much as possible to encourage this, so that we can have more of research at the school level. And then a lot of advocacy support. We collaborate with agencies, with government, so that we can have policies that will favor us as pharmacists.
All right, thank you very much, Madam. Dr. Adagazu.
Yeah, thank you very much. First and foremost, pharmacists in this country are fairly well trained. But there's a danger that is about to explode. We're having fewer lecturers in the increasing number of faculties of pharmacy. And the danger is that will lower the quality of education. So what do? We have to not only improve the curriculum to include information technology, entrepreneurship, and other skills, but we have to also look at how we can advance the knowledge of those who have graduated, who are practicing. And I'm proposing that in addition to the West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists, we should establish the National Postgraduate College of Pharmacists, just like they have in the medical field. That will help us a lot to increase the number of students that are getting better trained. And I'm happy with the specialization that is ongoing. You have pharmacists specializing in various fields. So you can see that if pharmacists from Nigeria migrate outside of this country, they get easily employed. I have not heard of our pharmacists being rejected for lack of good training. So what we need to do is to anticipate what is going to happen with the number of pharmacy schools increasing and with the number of teachers diminishing. Somebody told me the teachers are leaving too. They are frustrated. As PSN President, I will set up a committee to look at how we can improve all these things so that we can curb the challenges facing the universities in terms of curriculum, in terms of whatever. And of course, that is one of the jobs of the Pharmacy Council.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Pharmacist Tanko Ayuba, over to you, sir.
In terms of education, in addition to the West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists, we shall advocate for the formation of the National Postgraduate College of Pharmacists, whose products should have the equivalent of a PhD. So if you have a PhD already in the university, you become automatically a fellow of the National Postgraduate College of Pharmacy. And if you do the postgraduate fellowship of pharmacy, it should be equivalent to a PhD, so that there is interconnectedness between the two. Okay. So with this, we shall also establish the adoption of technology in pharmacy education. We should make it such that whoever goes through the training of pharmacy should be so technologically savvy that he can operate an automated pharmacy, an automated supply chain system, so that we don't have to be running around physically to do things. Our young pharmacists, they know more than us when it comes to this, so we shall make them to champion this issue, so that we shall introduce proper technology in the pharmacy practice. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, so from Mr. Adagazu, yes. That's the last question for this set. How do you envision the role of pharmacists in achieving universal health coverage in Nigeria? And what steps would you take to integrate pharmacists more fully into the healthcare system? Well, I take that again. And this for everybody. How do you envision the role of pharmacists in achieving universal health coverage in Nigeria? And what steps would you take to integrate pharmacists fully into the Nigerian healthcare system?
Yeah, thank you very much. Universal health coverage is one of the 3 initiatives of the United Nations. And universal health coverage seeks to ensure that every citizen gets access to healthcare at a cost that is within his own pockets. Now, what are the roles that pharmacists play? The common roles, the usual roles. Pharmacists are engaged in medicine management. So they will help the patient to get the best medication at an affordable rate. They are also involved in getting access to medicines. So they are responsible for procurement and management of drugs. If they do it well, it will be helpful in achieving universal health coverage. Pharmacists also function to advise those who are on chronic medication. So these are some of the areas. Counseling, patient education is part of what pharmacists are expected to do under universal health coverage. And even research and data. Each time I go to any hospital and I see pharmacists relaxing, I tell them, what are you doing? You should get more involved. You should get more involved. So as PSN, we will try as much as possible to see how we can improve the roles that these pharmacists are playing. They are already doing their best. With the specialization, I feel proud when you go to some hospitals and you see, even in the community, you see pharmacists talking and advising patients. You know, in the community practice, you find that they do carry out functions like immunization, tests, and a few other things that were either not being done by them. Now we intend to encourage them to do even more. We intend to encourage them to do even more. And by so doing, I can assure you that we will make some contributions towards achieving universal health coverage. Remember, we had the Millennium Development Goals. We came and went. We had the Sustainable Development Goals. Came and went. This universal health coverage, if we do not participate and contribute our quota, the same thing will happen. And the global community will be laughing at us. But I know pharmacists are capable of participating in this universal health very, very efficient. We have the training. The few that are involved are doing very well, and they are making us proud. So I want to assure you that our role will be to encourage that pharmacists should do more, should go for more training to be able to cope with all the demands of the functions required in achieving universal health coverage.
All right, sir. Pharmacist Ayuba.
Thank you very much. Sorry. The role of pharmacists in achieving universal health coverage. We are already in a position to do that if we are recognized, especially community pharmacists, as primary healthcare centers. It will expand the roles of pharmacists to play their part in the universal health coverage. We play a lot of roles in the health sector: counseling of patients, procurement of drugs, storage of drugs, transportation of drugs, and so many other things. So we also carry out research. Hospital pharmacists in Nigeria are doing very well. As a young pharmacist in 1996, I used the NMPC clinic in Kaduna to carry out a research on intestinal worms, which I presented to the Secretary General of the West African Program College of Pharmacists, then Dr. E.N. Sukomba. He presented to his board and they approved it. And I went to the Gambia in Banjul to present that paper during the WACPC conference. So this tells you that pharmacists can be a source of data in the hospitals. Apart from playing our roles, we shall also do research. So we have several roles to play. And by the time they make us primary healthcare centers, our roles will expand. Thank you.
All right. Pharmacist Foyibo.
Thank you very much. For the universal health coverage, I would say that as pharmacists, we are prepared because over the time, so many pharmacists have been trained and retrained to prepare for this. For now, most of the states are not doing, they are now having their own insurance program, health insurance program, like Lagos and Ogun State. I know they have taken off, in which the citizens just pay a little token, and for Ogun State, it's 12,000 naira, and it takes you for the whole year. And the program has taken off, but pharmacists, only those in the hospital are part of it. The community pharmacists that should be part of it are not yet part of it. And I know in Lagos, they have also taken off. So as PSN President, we try as much as possible. Now that this is coming up, because very soon, that means access to healthcare will not be a major challenge again. So as PSN President, we try as much as possible to get community pharmacists to be part of that project. If somebody who has malaria can just go to the community pharmacy and get treated, and it goes through that process of the state healthcare insurance program, it will make a lot of difference. And even at the hospital level, there are a lot of things. We know that for procurement, it is when those who are specialists in an area handle it. That is where there is a difference. We know the issues that we have in DROF now. The HOD of pharmacy is no longer a major signatory to that account. I think it's something that we also want to work on, so that the HOD pharmacy, who knows the need, who knows what they want, can be a signatory to that, and that account can be tailored to ensure that drugs are available. And then the immunization too, we've had a lot of trainings. We are ready. Adult or children immunization, community pharmacists will be ready to do that.
All right, thank you very much. That marks the end of this session. Due to time constraints, we had a number of questions from the online platform. I'll only be taking one of them, which all of you will have to respond to in 2 minutes each. After that, you will take your closing statements. What I will do with that is to increase that time slot from 1 minute to 2 minutes. And so in 2 minutes each, you would address this question because it speaks to the younger pharmacists and it speaks to the economic challenges we have right now. And it says, given the challenging economic conditions that restricts young pharmacists, and maybe everybody safe, from pursuing entrepreneurial opportunities in areas like community pharmacy practice and manufacturing, what specific measures would you implement as president to support and empower young pharmacists, maybe all pharmacists, in their entrepreneurial endeavors? Let me say it in my local dialect. Given the fact that the country is hard, people want to set up pharmacy and factory. As PSN president, what can you do to support this hustle? Let's start again from
me.
Okay, should you want to start? Okay, no problem. Okay, sir, from you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
The young pharmacists are the future of our profession. Whatever we can do to support them, we must do it. Like I said, as president, it is very possible and most likely that I can save a lot of resources, because being somebody who will be in Abuja, I will not be flying from Benin to Lagos, Lagos to Abuja all the time. So that amount of money will be saved. And there are other things that I can also save from, because we know there is a problem on the ground that is facing the young pharmacists. It's not just about Ayuba giving them some little stipends. It's about going beyond that. So we have to develop a strategic policy, even if it means getting the government, the private sector, and even the industry involved. But we must do something for them. There was a policy before that encouraged people coming together to get loan. And I think that policy still stands, where you have cooperatives. Pharmacists must start thinking of how we can encourage them, the younger ones, to form partnerships, to form cooperatives, so that they can have access to loans that are available now. All we need to do is to insist that whoever is going to give them some support must give them support that will not destroy them, but support that will keep them going. So because if the interest rate is so high, they will not serve any purpose. So I can assure you from the PSN point of view, whatever money I'm able to save from other issues, I can, once we help 2 or 3 out of 10, that is a good thing. So we will start somewhere, and I think it is possible to assist them. So they should count on us. All right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, sir. Dr. Foyibo, over to you.
Thank you very much. I had the opportunity to start early. I went into community pharmacy maybe 4 years post-graduation. And so it's a big challenge, and I think I have mentioned it before, that I've spoken with them, I know what their challenges are. There is no need, we can't pretend about it. Starting any business now, even if it's orange you want to sell, for you to buy a basket of orange, you know how much it costs, not to talk of starting up a pharmacy. But we can encourage them if we have special loans. You know, when I mean special loans with special interest, a reduced interest. If the banks that are giving the loans understand the purpose of the loan, that is for the benefit of everyone, and as PSN, we stand as guarantors. We must, we should be able to start up a program right from the states. It's not just giving to anybody. The state must be able to recommend you and all that, so that PSN stands as your backbone. PSN stands as your guarantor. And then you are somebody that will be somebody of impeccable character that your states can vouch for, so that we can get low interest rates for them to start up. And also, cooperative has done a lot, even for those who are already in practice. And then collaboration. What stops, it's not compulsory that as a young pharmacist you must start up. What stops 2, 3, 4 pharmacies coming together to start up? So we will also encourage that collaboration. Let's come together. Let's see what we can do. But one thing I must say, that as I started so early, I'll try as much as possible to give the young pharmacists that opportunity to be able to start early. The facilities are there. As ACPN, I know that ACPN has gotten a lot of special interest rate loans for community pharmacies, and that can be specially extended to the young pharmacists.
All right, Pharmacist Ayuba, over to you.
Yeah, if you want to do something for somebody, you have to have his buy-in. Whatever project you are going to do for young pharmacists belongs to them. So I will ask them to prepare a position paper on how they would like PSN to help them to achieve whatever it is they want to achieve, and we shall implement it. And they will be the drivers. Somebody was trying to trivialize the issue of young pharmacists. That will give them some little stipends. Some people didn't know the meaning of YPG until when they started looking for president. They now went and learned the meaning of YPG. And all of them, they become advocates for young pharmacists, giving them bombastic promises, which they don't intend to fulfill. My own, I talk, I do. I have been with young pharmacists from inception. I open accounts for them, and I've been sponsoring their activities over the years. So it's not something you come and trivialize by saying because of little stipends Ayuba is giving them. No. My relationship with young pharmacists is beyond that. It's a covenant we have, and I've been with them, and I'll be with them. So whatever they want to do, as the president, I'm their own. They know that I didn't come looking for them because I want to be president. I've been there with them, and I'll be there with them. Thank you.
All right. Now we'll take a question from the audience in the room. And we have, let's give him the mic, Flight Lieutenant Ibrahim Amidu. His question will be answered by all the three candidates. Yes, please. Sorry? 2 minutes, yes, please. Mic. Someone give me the mic. There's a second mic there.
Okay, thank you so very much, moderator. Let me just take the few minutes that I have to start by appreciating our elder here, Sir Ifanyatui, other elders of the profession, men of honor, and of course the audience listening. Flight Lieutenant Ibrahim Mohammed Amidu, a dedicated and passionate pharmacovigilance advocate. I'm also committed to being a beacon of drug safety, awareness, and guiding initiatives that will promote pharmacovigilance practice in Nigeria. So my question is this: as PSN President, what initiatives would you propose to strengthen and entrench a robust pharmacovigilance system in Nigeria that meets international best practice? Thank you.
All right, pharmacovigilance in Nigeria, what would your plan be to strengthen it in such a way that it matches global best practices? Pharmacist Tanko. Okay.
Dr.
Foyibo, when you start, it will flag, they will end with you again.
Let me start so that later they can start fighting.
All right, let's move.
Okay. Pharmacovigilance. As ACPN National Chairman, NAFDAC we had series of training on pharmacovigilance. At the community level, even in the hospital, we can do a lot. But I think that sometimes people are not compensated. You can't tell me as a community pharmacist, for instance, you want me to be involved in pharmacovigilance, and there is no compensation. That means when I'm in my pharmacy, I leave what I am doing, I'm writing, I'm sending. Even at that time, it was all manual. It wasn't easy. Even now that you can go online, it's not so easy. So the people must be, as pharmacists, we'll try as much as possible to encourage people and also to collaborate. Collaboration. To collaborate with NAFDAC. How do we go from here? What do we go about this pharmacovigilance? Is there a way for people who, if people are recognized for what they do, they will not waste time in doing it. They want to do it. If I'm going to be recognized for a project, I don't mind. I will do it. It's not all the time that you'll be recognized, but at least just saying well done for what you have done. So we try as much as possible that whoever is taking part in pharmacovigilance, we will try as much as possible. And then we can collaborate with ACPN also. Because now we cannot deny the fact that a lot can be done online. There are softwares that can capture pharmacovigilance. So if we have softwares that can easily, so that if you have something to report, you can just easily enter and then you send. If we have that kind of collaboration, it will also help, so that the most important thing is that the whatever is noticed is taken to the right quarter. So if we have software that can ease the job and then recognition for those that are doing it, I think we'll move forward.
Mr. Adagazu.
Yeah, well, number one, I from the question of the military officer, he did not tell us if there is a problem now with pharmacovigilance policy in the country. If you check your records, you'll find that my name is on that document because I was part of the pharmacovigilance policy. I was director then, and I know that a lot went into the production of that document. and involve the PSN and all stakeholders. And from my own part, from the little I have noticed and I have known, this pharmacovigilance policy has been taken to the next level. There is a lot of reportage from everywhere. People don't need to be given some money or some compensation before they do what is right. We're trying to protect our people by reporting of side effects and adverse reactions that you experience with taking drugs. And this is being done willingly and freely from most of the facilities. And I do not know whether there's a problem now. But if there is, we shall go back to the drawing board. We will talk to those who are responsible for developing policies and tell them we are having this challenge, how do we solve them? Because it is important and very critical that we know what is happening. There are lots of drugs that are in the country now. Many of them are counterfeit. And if we don't get proper reporting system in place, then we are going to have a lot of problems. So as PSN President, I'm not responsible for policies, but I'll advocate that we have policies in place that will solve some of the problems we are experiencing with the implementation of pharmacovigilance policy. Thank you very much.
All right. To you.
Pharmacovigilance very seriously. I know that even in our hospital, we used to report. We have a form that we give people to document, to fill and report. Many community pharmacists are doing it, and they have been submitting to NAFDAC, and NAFDAC has been giving reports regularly on it. So what you said, everything can be improved upon. However perfect the situation is, you can improve upon it. So when we come in, we shall study where the thing is now, and anything there is need to improve upon, we shall improve upon. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have had a very robust debate, very robust engagements. We have heard about the backgrounds of our candidates, of our contestants. We have heard of those who have been attending conferences since
1992.
since 92, since 74, since all through. That's fantastic. And so, we've also had the opportunity to hear what their thoughts are around topical issues that affect the profession. Unfortunately, even though we still have more questions, we cannot take more because in a few minutes, we will be having a press conference in this same hall to herald the coming conference in Uyo. However, you would have a last opportunity looking directly into the camera to pharmacists who are watching you from all over the world right now. The beautiful thing about this debate is it's already archived online. Between today and the election, people can still go back and watch what you have said to make up their minds. And so in this last opportunity you have, which is being graciously doubled to 2 minutes, look into the camera and tell the people why you and you should be the president of the PSN. So let me start with you. All right, sir.
Thank you very much. From all that happened here today, there is no doubt that most of the challenges we are going to be trying to solve are in the domain of government. And I'm the only one out of these three that has worked in government to the point that I can have access and knock on the doors, and the doors will be open to me. I live in Abuja. I wouldn't need to be shuttling from place to place. I will save a lot of money, which I will use to support the projects of the PSN and even probably invest. So I believe that with my qualifications, with my background and experiences, with all that it takes, even the political exposure that I have, that this is me. These are my opponents. Look at us. Look at what we can do and decide. This is what I want to say. And that's how I'll end it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, I'm going to ask all of you a question. And that's what, after you finish speaking, I'll ask you all this question. And I want you to answer that the world may hear. in your heart of hearts, you all believe you deserve to hold that position. However, out of the three, only one will be president. If for any reason you do not become president, starting with you, sir, will you still work with the person who becomes president?
Well, I have been involved with Pharmacists since 1970-something. And pharmacy is my life. Why I'm presenting myself is because I believe that we must reposition and reform pharmacy beyond what my predecessors have done. And therefore, if I am not chosen, which is very unlikely, then I believe that the best and honorable thing to do is to support whoever becomes president. I have no problems with that. I've lost elections before when I contested as a senator, on the promptings of the PSN. The PSN didn't support me with even Tanko. I lost the election twice. But I did not get worried. I did not go to commit suicide. And my friends, some of my friends have also lost before. They've not committed suicide. So I'm sure if I make it, I will be if I make it, I'll be happy. If I don't, I will support whoever. But I believe that with everything that is on the table, man, ask them. Ask them. Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Pharmacist, Dr. Ejiro Foyibo. In 2 minutes, look into the camera and tell the world of pharmacy why you want or should be the second female president of the PSN. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Hi, Ejiro. I've come to seek your support, and I believe that as pharmacists, we are fair and we are a profession that stands by justice. The lady pharmacists have been intimidated over the years. And I stand here. I stand here to be able to come on. And I want to tell you that with the experiences I've worked with 4 presidents in NEC and council. And with the experience who have mentored me, who have worked with, so I know what it takes for PSN. I know some of the challenges have been there. I'm the immediate past deputy president south of the PSN. And for women, the way we do things are different. Sometimes some people want to fight. It's not all the time that you fight to get what you want. I will use the endowment that God has given me as a woman to overcome some of the challenges that we have. And for equity's sake, I think you should vote for a woman. And then for me, like I've said, I will stand by justice and fairness. We cannot deny the fact that there are grumblings, there are people who feel that they are not the society is not being fair to them, or the organization is not being fair to them. I want to say that as PSN president, I will try as much as possible to make everybody have an equal opportunity as much as possible, whether in constitution of committees, whether in whatever it is, I will try as much as possible. Then also, I get off pharmacists. And then for senior pharmacists, I intend to create a group that I'll call Senior Pharmacist Group. For anybody who is over 65, who is not a fellow, should be given respect. We are Africans, we will do it, and we give them all the respect. But what I want to say that, look at them, look at me. I will always stand out. For those that know me, they know me. I don't fear anybody. This woman here is fearless. I don't have any godfather. I'm standing on my own. And I tell you that if you trust me and put me there as president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, I will not fear you, because Ejiro fears nobody.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. It's getting hotter in here. So, I pose the same question to you. Yes, you fear nobody, apart from the voters of farmers. After the votes next week, you want to be the president. However, if for some reason the people say they have a better preference, will you work with whoever emerges out of that process?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I must say that it is God that gives power.
Good.
I've always told all of them, even when we were 6, I would just jokingly say that in all this, God already knows who is going to be president of PSN come November 8th. And even come November 2027, God already knows who will be. It is God that gives power. So if he does not come to me, I take it that God has a better plan for me. In 2008, I was disqualified. I was internal auditor. I wanted to go in for financial secretary. And for no reason. When I mean no reason, I mean it because I was in NEC. I was disqualified and said I must give my position to someone. In 6 months, Ejiro became the national chairman of ACPN. So I always believe that if God says no to a project, he has a better plan for you. And I will work with everyone. If my assistant is sought in any area, Ejiro, I will stand with that person. But I believe that I am the best, and I hope that you give me your votes.
All right. Thank you very much. So we'll be anchoring with you, sir.
Yeah. My vision for PSN is to enhance the visibility of pharmacists, increase advocacy for pharmacists, enhance the recognition of pharmacists, and promote their welfare and protect their rights. And make pharmacists prosperous during my tenure. I'm emphasizing on that prosperity. I want to make pharmacists prosperous. So how do we have some current problems that are facing pharmacists that can be quick wins. This consultancy cadre, something that has been bothering people in the hospital. That's one of the first things we will do, because fortunately we have a policy in our favor. It's just that the CMDs are not implementing them. We shall embark not only on advocacy, we shall follow legal methods. If legal method does not work, we shall use JSO to get these things implemented. Number 2, our colleagues in the community must prosper. These illegal vendors that are preventing them from getting what belongs to them, we shall take care of them, we shall ensure the laws are implemented and the pharmacy profession sanitized. So even if it's these 2 things we are able to achieve within our first few months, we will go a long way in enhancing the welfare of pharmacists and making them prosperous. So I'm one of the most experienced pharmacists in Nigeria. I've been state chairman, state secretary, first deputy president, unofficial member, and for every position I've held, I have left indelible mark. I've left verifiable evidence of what I did, not bombast. What I did can be verified. I did this when I was this. I did this when I was this. Not that I'll come here and start telling you that I was this, but you don't have any evidence to show for what I've done. I have evidence at every position I've held and what I've recorded.
They will know. They will know.
So, if you want your profession to be prosperous, well defended, with your image, you know, there's something called halo effect when you see somebody. When they say, this is your president, you look at him and you feel pleased. You say, this is our president, we are well pleased. When I come out and they say, this is the president of pharmacy, every pharmacist will feel proud that this is your president, Ayuba Tanko Ibrahim.
All right, thank you very much. Now I will ask you the same question. Come next week,
oh my God,
and the elections are over. While we are eating that dinner, and then the news is announced, and for whatever reason they say it's not you, will you work with whoever is announced as the president?
As I said earlier, mine is talk, not do. You don't say I talk. I do it. In 2015, I was unfortunately disqualified from contesting, and Yaka became president. He gave me a very serious job. That's the chairman of Abuja Building Committee. I took the job, did it. In the 3 years, my committee put up 2 stories of the Abuja building. And since I left, my committee was dissolved. Nothing has been added to that building. I don't know whether the current president has been able to add. Then, when the President Usifo won in 2021, I was among the first people that congratulated him. And I was the only candidate that attended his inauguration in Abuja. Among those who contested with him, I was the only one that attended his inauguration. This tells you that I'm a sportsman. I take it as a game. Like she said, it's God that gives power. And my religion teaches me that whatever doesn't come to you, it doesn't belong to you at that time. So I'm always cheerful, whether I win or lose. And that's why I don't have any problem. So whether I win or lose, life goes on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for all our candidates. I believe strongly that the profession is in good hands. I remember with a lot of fond memories when we had this online editor, Pharma News, please be on standby for vote of thanks. When we had this same debate 3 years ago, and one of the burning issues on the table was the pharmacy bill. And all the candidates were like, in 1 month, I will get it out. In 6 weeks, I will get it. Bottom line, it is out. Now, we have new issues that you have to do. Some of them perennial, some of them new. And we are confident that one of you, when appointed or when elected next week as the president, will hit the ground running and deliver a glorious future to our dear profession. At this point, I'll invite Mrs. Temitope Obayedo, online editor of Pharma News, to give the vote of thanks for this program.
Professor Siri Osifo, the Managing Director and Publisher, Pharma News, FAMSA Ifanya the Secretary of National Secretary PSN, Gafar Maden, and the Publicity Secretary, the moderators, and the distinguished guests here. It gives me a great pleasure to appreciate all our distinguished candidates and also guests that have made it to this debate today. It's been a wonderful time here, actually. If you've been watching online, and for those of us here, it's been an interesting time. The candidates have given us loads of insight. They've given us what they are going to do. They've given us their manifesto. And it will be a beautiful thing that come November 8th, the candidates that emerge will implement this. We want to believe that God will take over of the elections, and everything will be successful. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming over. Those that have come from outside Lagos and those within Lagos, we are very, very grateful. Our cooperators and collaborators here, the PSN, Pharmastream TV, Raji, thank you so much for your sacrifice. We are very, very grateful. From Shinok Banubi, you have been there since 2018 that this program started. We've been working together, and it's always been a beautiful experience. God bless you. And to everyone here, I say a great thank you. And the Lord take us to our various destinations in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, everybody. Let all the candidates have a good handshake. And yes. Is there a photographer in the house, please? Yes. Let them take it. Let them come. Please come in front of her. Yes, so you are one of them who will be the president.
It is time for another presidential election of Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, PSN. Pharmacists decide 2024 who will be the next PSN president. Pharmacist Ayuba Tanko Ibrahim, FPSN. Pharmacist Dr. Joel Adagazu, FPSN. Pharmacist Dr. Ejiro Foyibo, FPSN. Join the 2024 PSN Presidential Debate holding on Tuesday, 29th October 2024 at the PSN National Secretariat, 32 Faramobi Ajike Street, Antony, Lagos. Time is 10 a.m. prompt. This hybrid PSN Presidential Debate will be transmitted live on PharmaStream TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and hit the notification bell for live update of the PSN debate. For video and product advert placement, call Temitope Obayendo or Pharma News on 002-674-8215. Pharmacists Decide 2024. Join us for the live debate.